Hey, guys. Do you know what happens to the soul when it separates from our body? Today, I'm going to reveal some unusual processes that not many people know about. Imagine, on the 3rd, 9th, and 40th days, the soul embarks on a journey that can radically change our understanding of the world. This material can either shock you or give you a new understanding of life after death. But the most important thing is the stories that will leave no one indifferent. As they say, you don't hear things like this just anywhere. So stick with us, we've got a lot of interesting stuff ahead. So, are you ready? Then, let's go. These shots were taken right after a serious car accident. The victim with severe injuries has already been loaded into the ambulance. Let's roll. However, a dark silhouette can be seen next to the back doors of the car. Despite doctors passing by, none noticed anything unusual. Only the camera captured a silhouette, likely the soul of someone who had left their body. It seemed to glance back at its physical form, unsure of what to do next. Yet, the victim was still alive. It seemed like she glanced back at her physical form, not understanding what to do next. However, the victim was still alive. After the incident, he showed almost no signs of life and never regained consciousness, dying 3 days later. However, it seemed that his soul had already started to drift away from his body. Can a person come back to life if their soul has already left the body? Although he's not physically dead yet. Maybe this is a universal law of the universe. Without a soul, there's no life. This video was recorded in the hospital on July 24th, 2017. It shows how doctors and nurses gathered around one of the patients, performing various procedures. After making sure that the patient's condition had stabilized and there was no longer an immediate threat to his life, the medical staff left the room. Suddenly, the patient's pulse began to drop. The medical staff leaves the room. Suddenly, the patient's pulse starts to drop, until it completely disappears. It's at this moment in the recording that you can see something ethereal, possibly the soul, leaving the body. The doctors attempt to resuscitate him, but all their efforts are in vain. The soul has already left, and there is no going back. In this video, captured by a street surveillance camera, a phenomenon known as soul exchange is recorded. Two strangers are walking toward each other when suddenly, an energy flow emanates from one of them, transferring to the second man. Two strangers are walking toward each other when suddenly, an energy flow emanates from one of them, transferring to the second man. Both participants in the incident clearly feel the change happening, transferring to the second man. Both feel change. First man freezes, energy transfers, second man reacts. When the energy leaves the first man, he freezes and looks at the second man, to whom it is transferred. The second man, in turn, reacts to what's happening. In the recording, you can clearly see him flinch as if he's bumped into an invisible barrier. Then the second man continues on his way, while the first one puts his hands to his head. It seems he's trying to make sense of what just happened. Both participants fully realized that they had witnessed something unexplainable. Apparently, he's trying to make sense of what just happened. Both participants fully realized that they had witnessed something unexplainable. This video captures the final moments of an elderly man's life. In these moments, his son is by his side, holding his father's hand and humming a tune, trying to ease the last moments of his existence. As the clock shows 6:20 and 3 seconds, you can see a small glowing mass emerging from the old man's body, rising upward. In these moments, his son is by his side, holding his father's hand and humming a tune, trying to ease the last moments of his existence. When the clock shows 6:20 and 3 seconds, you can see a small glowing mass emerging from the old man's body, rising upward. It hovers in the air for a moment, then swiftly moves through the air, to the right. In that very second, the elderly man passes away. This story took place in the state of Georgia, the United States. Behind the wheel of the car was 23-year-old Hannah Simmons, accompanied by her 9-month-old daughter and a friend. Apparently, Hannah lost control of the car, which led to a tragic accident that claimed the lives of all 3 passengers. 19-year-old Anissa Jennan, who was stuck in a traffic jam due to a traffic accident, was very late for work. Deciding to document the incident on camera to provide to her superiors as an excuse, she took a picture. However, when Anissa saw the resulting shot, she was stunned. The photo clearly shows a bright beam of light, known as the stairway to heaven. Inside this beam, you can make out a small bright spot that stands out against the overall background. Many claim that in this place, the soul of a child is captured, ascending to the sky. After discovering the unusual phenomenon, Anissa decided to share the photo with the family of the deceased. Despite their deep sorrow, Hannah's family and her daughter found comfort in the thought that their loved ones had found peace. Eternal peace in the heavens. A surveillance camera in New York captured an astonishing phenomenon. A homeless man slept under a bridge, on cardboard. A human-like silhouette emerged from him. It stood, walked, turned, and vanished. The video quickly went viral online. He stood up, took a few steps forward, turned around, and looked at the lying body, then vanished in an unknown direction. After the video was posted online, it quickly racked up a ton of views and comments. Most viewers concluded that the homeless man had passed away and his soul left his body. However, the question of why the soul became visible remains unanswered. This video was recorded by a surveillance camera, and I decided that I want to die. The footage shows a person lying on a bed, likely deep in sleep. At a certain moment, something mysterious and enigmatic appears. A shadow-like figure slowly rises from the person's body. After a short while, this dark figure dissipates into the air. A shadow-like figure slowly rises from the person's body. After a short while, this dark figure dissipates into the air. Viewers who watch this clip are convinced that they witnessed the process of the soul separating from the physical body. This video was caught on camera in Israel, where a man's murder is captured. A mysterious white figure appeared in the frame. In addition to the crime itself, a mysterious white silhouette appeared in the frame, appearing near the victim. In an instant, it quickly moves down the road. The nature of this phenomenon remains unclear. It could be the result of some high-quality editing, or maybe we really witnessed a soul leaving a body. Either way, there's something mysterious about this clip. This video shows the moment of a collision in Thailand. Either way, there's something mysterious about this clip. In Thailand, a woman and biker hit a truck. She died. He was. A surveillance camera captured a woman and a motorcyclist colliding with a truck, leaving the woman dead on the spot and the man with multiple injuries. Right after the incident, a dark silhouette resembling the outline of a human figure appeared next to the woman. It remained still while people rushed to the scene of the accident. Local news confirmed that the girl passed away, while the man survived, despite serious injuries. This video captures a horrific accident at an intersection in one of the European cities. You can see a dark figure emerging from the damaged car, which then rushes down the street, hovering in the air for a moment as if it's looking around, and soon disappears. Which then rushes down the street, hovering in the air for a moment, as if it's looking around, and soon disappears. The young man who witnessed this event does not even notice the mysterious object flying literally a few meters away from him. Later, when he reviewed the footage, he was puzzled as to what it could have been. Janice recorded the last moments of her mother's life, who was in a hospital at the Baptist Church in Nashville, Tennessee, USA. The woman was unconscious for a long time. Janice claims that at the moment of her passing, her mother was surrounded by white, glowing balls, which she calls angelic spheres. Janice is convinced that these orbs appeared at a crucial moment to carry her mother's soul to heaven. The white glowing objects hovered and moved gently above the body of the elderly woman. White glowing objects. They hovered and moved gently above the body of the elderly woman. The daughter believed the angelic spheres appeared to comfort her loved ones, because everyone wants peace for loved ones, instilling confidence that the soul is leaving easily and peacefully. This eased the pain for those left behind. The video supporting her belief has gained support from thousands worldwide, even in such difficult yet inevitable moments. The video that supports her belief has garnered the support of thousands of viewers around the world, including Janice's family members. In 2018, a camera captured another sleeping man. In the footage, you can see a man named Joe seemingly resting peacefully. His mouth is open, and his body is completely relaxed. He might have lost consciousness. Suddenly, there's an unexpected movement in the frame. A white sphere emerges from the man's body. This color has been associated with the spirit world since ancient times. The sphere rises up, as if separating from the body. There's a suggestion that the soul doesn't necessarily take on a form. A ghost. The essence of life lies in energy clusters, energy spheres. These spheres form the essence of a person. How do they connect with the body and bring it to life? Remains a mystery, but it's these energy spheres that represent our life force. In this video, we witness the energy sphere leaving Joe's body. Does this mean that life is gradually leaving him? There is no answer to this question yet. Stay tuned, and you'll find out what happens to the soul after it leaves the body. Today, I'm going to tell you what happens to the soul on the 3rd, 9th, and 40th day after death. The church traditionally commemorates the deceased on these days, as well as on the anniversary of their passing, giving special significance to each of these times. According to church teachings, for the first 2 days, the soul remains close to its former body, wandering with angels through familiar earthly places tied to the joys and sorrows of the past. On the 3rd day, the soul is required to bow to the Lord. For the next 6 days, she is shown the heavenly abodes, and then for 30 days, the depths of hell. After that, God determines her place of residence in heaven or in hell, the depths of hell. After that, God determines her place of residence in heaven or in hell. For the first 2 days, the soul, still attached to the body, wanders among places tied to its earthly experiences, like a bird searching for its nest. The righteous soul visits the places where it did good deeds. Like a bird searching for its nest, the righteous soul visits the places where it did good deeds. On the 9th day, the commemoration of the deceased takes place in honor of the 9 angelic orders, who act as intermediaries between man and God. Intercession and the forgiveness of the sinner. After the 3rd day, the soul, accompanied by an angel, walks through the heavenly gardens and gazes at their otherworldly beauty. This goes on for 6 days. And during this time, the soul forgets about the suffering it experienced in the body and after leaving it. But if the soul is burdened by sins, it starts to grieve and blame itself. Alas, how much time I wasted in this world, not serving God properly to earn this grace and glory. On the 9th day, the Lord commands the angel to bring the soul back to him for worship. With awe and reverence, the soul stands before the throne of the Almighty. At this moment, the Holy Church once again turns to prayer for the deceased, pleading with the merciful God to place the soul of the departed person among the saints. The 40-day period holds great significance in the history and traditions of the Church. Like the time needed for preparation to receive special divine grace and help from God. The prophet Moses was given the right to communicate with Jesus Christ on Mount Sinai and to receive from him. The tablets of the law came only after a 40-day fast. The Israelites wandered for 40 years to reach the promised land. The Lord Jesus Christ himself ascended to heaven on the 40th day after his resurrection. Based on these events, the Church established the commemoration of the deceased on the 40th day after their death, so that the soul of the deceased can ascend to the holy mountain of heaven, Sinai, to be worthy, to behold God, to attain the promised bliss, and to dwell in the heavenly abodes alongside the righteous. After the second worship of the Lord, the angels lead the soul to hell, where it witnesses the cruel torments of unrepentant sinners. On the 40th day, the soul ascends for the 3rd time to worship God, and at that moment, its fate is determined. Depending on its earthly deeds, a place of residence is assigned to it until the last judgment. Church prayers and memorials on this day play an important role, because they help atone for the sins of the deceased and assist their soul in finding refuge in paradise. Among the saints, the Church commemorates the deceased on the anniversary of their death. The reason for this establishment is quite clear. The annual cycle of worship includes all the fixed holidays, which are repeated every year. Loved ones always remember the person who has passed, even if just in their hearts, especially on the day of their memory. For Orthodox believers, this is the birthday for a new eternal life. As Blessed Augustine said in his discourse on piety and the commemoration of the deceased, the dead hope to receive help through us. After all, the time for doing good deeds has run out for them, and their souls are constantly calling out to us. Death severs physical ties with loved ones, yet spiritual ties remain. The chasm between the living and the dead. However, the spiritual connection and communication between those who continue to live in this world and those who have passed into the afterlife do not cease. We can think about them, talk to them in our minds, try to help them, but how? The priests unanimously answered this question through prayer. For 40 days, the fate of the soul is not yet definitively determined. The question of what happens to the soul after death has troubled humanity throughout history. Where does it go after it leaves the body? Has troubled humanity throughout history. Where does it go after it leaves the body? Many cultures have their own beliefs about the afterlife. Official science traditionally denies everything. So whether to believe or not, that's up to each person to decide for themselves. And now, friends, I want to make you an interesting offer. You have a unique opportunity to become part of our team. If you have video editing skills, you can voice over videos in Russian, English, and other languages. Or you can write interesting scripts. We would be happy to work with you. Message our Telegram bot. The link is in the description. That's all for today. See you next time.